So I'm going to spin this. Hard to do it with one hand. Hey everybody, today on Feathers Off Road, we're going to fix this mess. I can point to the other video, but if you watch that video, you'll see when I got stuck in the rut and finally broke my factory handguards. These are just plastic. I knew they would break eventually. I've just been waiting for them to do that basically. Probably should have done it sooner because this did not snap clean and ended up bending. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this on both sides and take these plastic ones off. The new ones have a mount that will actually end up here and here. So it'll reach all the way from this end, come all the way across the front and tap in right here. And then what I'll do is, instead of using the friction where it goes into the bar end and pushes against the outside, instead of using that, I'm gonna tap the end of this and put a little insert, which is way, way more sturdy. I think I did a similar video on the Nico E-Beast when I did it. So I actually tapped the whole tube here. And this is I don't remember what size Allen bolt, but it goes through the end of these. Now on this bike, I did the Tusk Off-Road Pro, D-Flex Pro. I can put the link to those in the bio. I've really loved these. They have a bar end mount. It doesn't go to the center like the ones I just got. But these have been awesome. I was just looking for the same one for the KTM, but I couldn't find them in stock anywhere, and I didn't want to ride for much longer like this. So I got the Cycra ones. Quick commentary: after I've recorded this video, I've since removed the Cycra guards. The HCM mount that I show in this video doesn't actually fit the stock KTM bar. At the end of the video, I'll show the handguards that I ended up moving to, but the install process is the same for basically any guards. And those have been good. I have those on my other KTM, but I will get to work on this. Let's put the Cycra ones on. This is the Bulletproof Designs handlebar tap. So roughly these are the instructions that we'll follow. I already have a tap. You can see here it calls for a 5/8 11. I've already got one of those, so I just bought the kit without the tap. But basically we will go in, tap the thing, throw the insert in, and then screw into the other end of that. It's a much, much better connection than the friction mounts. I'm not sponsored by these guys or anything, so just paid for all of this because it's good stuff. So if I can lift this out of here. So here's the Cycra. This is how it comes packaged. Really solid, really heavy, hard to pick up even with one hand. So really thick aluminum brackets that'll go all the way out to the middle, like I said before. So these are the Pro Bend Ultra. I can post the link in the description. These are the ones I liked, and have these on my other KTM. Okay, pulling everything out of the box. Again, I've got my bar end tap here. This is everything that came in the kit, and here's all the hardware. So in my case, I will not be using these friction inserts. They don't hold very well. Definitely do some kind of a tap. Whether you buy this kit or not, like, you can make it work without the kit, but it's just really a lot easier with that. As far as the installation goes, it's pretty simple. We're gonna pull off the top of the handlebar, then we'll mount all the Cycra hardware out to the side, and then we'll handle that. It's a little blow up of how everything's gonna fit together. So this is the thing I am not gonna use. I will use my own system there. Everything else, the guard, the front guard, all of this we will use. So up front, there's a couple things I'm going to remove. These are the opposite end of the existing stock handguards. This is a T30. These ones on the handlebar grip itself, these are all T40s, and again, T30s here out to the edge. So I'm going to start by just loosening one side of the handlebar. Probably have to turn the phone off to do this, but I'm going to go after it and just kind of loosen these ones up. I'm going to keep note of where I've currently got the angle of the bar set. I want to keep that the same throughout this process, but probably just work on one side at a time. So I'll loosen up these. This one's going to come off completely. Just going to take a closer look here. if you're looking at that before I pulled it off, put it back here for just a second, where that sits, it gives you the appearance that this is connected, but it isn't. So if you look at it from this side, the whole brake reservoir and everything comes in and is mounted here. And even though that one butts right up against that wire, it is not connected. So might have to wiggle with it, get it out of there, but that nut does sit right against this little group of wires. Just another comment partway through. All of these T30s and these nuts, I would keep all of this stuff. Don't just huck this in the garbage, throw these in a tool bag. It's pretty common on KTMs to use really similar sizes of bolts and nuts all over the bike. So rather than buying one of those spare kits off of Amazon or something from your dealer, keep stuff like this around. Just throw it in the tool bag, and if you need to reattach something, you'll have at least something that maybe you already have a wrench for. This one on the end is a 6mm. Took a little bit of force to get it, but there you can see not much to it. So in the end, we're gonna tap that and put the insert. Okay, I've got this new bracket on. This is a 12mm. Comes out here. This is what they call in their instructions an index bolt. And then we reach out here. Now, this is a common problem on installing handguards. Don't freak out here. A lot of these don't line up. It's kind of these are usually meant as a universal part. So depending on the height of your bar, the sweep of your bar, whatever, this may not line up. Now you can see I can move this up and down a little bit at that hinge point. I'll tighten that up later. But what I want to do is I want to get this pretty close to lined up. And then I'm going to have to just bend basically this whole thing until it comes back to here. Now, I've got this much room, a finger's worth of room. I did have to kind of just push these wires down, but I should be able to bend this, just have about an inch. I might throw a wrench up here. Let me do some experimenting to see the best place to bend it, and then I will post how I did. Okay, I've got this perched just for demonstration purposes. I got this bent. I'm gonna push this off and try to do this with one hand. So it's under a lot of tension now. So what I did, again, sorry to do this with one hand, is I got 2 wrenches and I got them both on here. And I was basically holding one higher up and then bending the other one kind of down in that direction. So with this one on the left, I was pulling, and with this one on the right, I was pushing. Maybe not the best demonstration. So I did it up in here a couple of times, and then I brought it down lower and bent this lower piece. And with both of those bent, you can see I'm well beyond, still have enough clearance. If you're worried about scratching these, I don't know a better way. They're gonna get scratched. That's what they're for. So you're gonna cover that with plastic anyway, and now we should be good to tap. All right, I got this side all bent and I'm ready to tap. So as I mentioned with the tap kit, which I'll throw in the description, you can buy one that already has a tap. So this is the right size. I already had one, like I said. Biggest thing to remember here is a couple things. You want to be square and you want to go straight in. So make sure you're not tapping like that or off to the side, something crazy. You want to go slow and as straight as you can. The other thing is you want to put some oil on this and go really slow. And every so often you want to back this out and get all the metal shavings out and then kind of go back in. I'll have to look at the instructions in just a second. I can't remember if it says how deep you need to go for this. Doesn't really matter because it's all just handlebar tube. But we will do this on both sides. Okay, I got this kind of started. You can see pretty even there, pretty even there. I'm just gonna add a little bit more oil and I'll probably back it out. Now the kit that I have, this is kind of a ratcheting. So you're gonna twist this and kind of keep clicking through, going slow, backing it out. Hard to do that with one hand, so I will just progress a little more. I'm in the middle of backing this one out, and you can see this is why you need to, if this will focus, why you need to oil and back out every handful of threads. you get all this junk from the tube that clogs up, and you've got to just extract it and go back in. So don't do it all in one run. In the instructions for the tap kit, if you buy theirs, it says to leave 5 threads. So I'm just going to assume that my tap is the same size as their kit, even though I didn't buy theirs. So I'm going to stop here and pull this out. And now you can see, trying to zoom in on that, but you can see I went in about, I don't know, a couple inches, a couple centimeters. So it's all threaded. Now they have an insert that goes in there, and then there's another screw, which I'll show in a minute. But first I'm going to do the other side and get it just like this. Okay, for the threaded bar insert, you're supplied with 5 things. The insert, the bolt, and then this little jam nut. So what you're going to do is put the nut on the bolt like that, and it'll become a lock nut, which will spin the whole insert. So this is how you'll insert it, and then you'll pull this off and you'll pull the nut off, and it'll just be these two. But this piece will remain in the bars, and this needs Loctite on it as well, blue Loctite. All right, so this is kind of how it'll appear as you first put it in. Fits perfect. You can see a little bit of that blue Loctite. This is a 5mm hex. So I'm going to spin this. Hard to do it with one hand. So I'm going to spin this, and I want the end of the insert to line up with the end of the bar, and that's where I want to stop. So I'm going to leave it there. And at the end, you're left with this, even with the throttle. So you'll screw the supplied bolt from them through the new circuit guard into this insert. I'm going to do this for the other side. All right, getting these on has been kind of a battle with bending these bars. Like I said, usually these are universal fit and you have to bend them, but I feel like I'm doing a lot of bending. I don't know if it's because I've got this mount. If a handlebar mount would have been easier, but I have struggled to get to this point. So anyway, I've got it lined up. This is how it should look. Ideally, I'd like that to match a little bit better, but this is what I got. So I already did the other side, so I'll snug this up and put the plastics on. And that's what I was afraid of. Strip that guy out. Got it pretty close. I think it'll be okay, but definitely gonna have to watch this bolt. That's the nice thing about these threaded inserts though, is if this bolt's jacked up, I can, do an easy out, pull this bolt out. The handlebar is still threaded, and I could just find another bolt that's the right size. Starting to put these plastics on with the supplied nuts and bolts that I showed earlier. What you'll see is there's a cutout for that T-nut on the back. So there's one here and another one here. So first you put on this black piece, and then the white piece will fit over the top. Looking at this one that I already did this side. So the very first one goes straight through the black. The second and third go through the white. This one actually goes through the white and the black onto the back side, into that groove. And then there is another little set of hardware that'll cover, I guess it goes behind, but there is a screw hole here, you can see. So I will put those on. Ease of install, not bad. This probably took me maybe an hour and a half, and that's with filming. Don't know if I'm a fan of this mount. We'll try it out. I mean, I'm not gonna take it all back off now. I felt like there was a lot more bending than I would have liked. All right, I removed the circuit guards, and I'll tell you why. When I put these new levers on, this was hitting. I had to bend that so much, as I mentioned in the other video. This was actually hitting to the point where I couldn't even move the bike. It was basically like I had a parking brake on. So I pulled those off. I put on these HDB off-road ones. They also have the same mount that comes out here to the middle. Come around here. So the exact same handlebar clamp mount that I had on the other ones. And to move from the one setup to this setup was a 10-minute job. I pulled this insert out that I showed previously, and this gigantic bolt is the size of that insert. So this is a massive bolt that they include with this kit, but you can see I didn't have to bend this at all. It took 10 minutes to do. So definitely don't, if you're gonna get the circle ones, get the ones that attach out here. Don't get the center mount ones. So hope the video was helpful, and until next time, enjoy the ride.